Marcia Bailey.
And I'm Kindra Mone.
And
welcome to the couch.
Welcome to the couch. Well, today we're going to be talking about dealing with shame and regret.
Yeah, we're going a little deep. That was me swimming, deep sea diving to the deepness that we are about to enter.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
We'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be okay. So, it's kind of challenging. I mean, life is not perfect. Things are going to happen. And you have to process them and move past them.
Yeah.
And the most challenging thing I know I had to work with, and I continue to work within my life, throughout my life, is moving forward.
Yeah.
And not holding myself hostage to something.
Yeah. I remember when I first really, I would say growing up, when you grow up in a Christian household, there is this expectation of who you're going to be, but there's also this coming into adulthood time where you actually have to say, who am I? And figure that out for yourself. And so in that process for me, I definitely made mistakes along the way and went my own way sometimes. And then after coming back to who I am and finding out who God is to me and what my walk with Jesus Christ looks like, I got to this place where I think I actually called you and literally said this, like, now that I'm who I am today, how do I get over who I was at one point? Like, how do I live in my truth today without feeling bad about where I was before?
Yeah.
And I think that I saw this this post on Instagram that was so good, and it said, religion says, I messed up, oh my God, my dad is going to kill me. The gospel says, I messed up, oh my God, I need to call my dad. Wow. And that is the difference between religion and the gospel, because the gospel is that you messed up, but guess what? We have this Father that you can call. Not, oh, you messed up, you're too far now. You messed up, oh, you're done.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing about it is so challenging because, you know, whatever we mess up in, do or don't do, God already knew about it before we did not or before we did it. So our lives and what T we did not cross or I we didn't die, he already knew about it.
Right.
You know, and so we think it's like a surprise to him, but it's not a surprise to him.
Right.
But the whole thing, he's in our lives. We have him in our lives to help us through those things.
Right.
And we think we got to be like ashamed of them and run from them. But he's like, I'm in it with you. Let me help you through it. But like you said, you know, there's so much stuff we just like internalize and we, you know, we feel like this is what we have to be, that we have to be these perfect people, and we're not perfect.
No one's going to be perfect.
Nothing. Oh, my God. But it's like, so living with that imperfection and that whatever, and let's just say it's not so private, it's public or any level.
Right.
All the more, you know, our lives are somewhat public. It's this stuff that we dealt with and go through as a family that is not private.
Yeah.
You know, and so I had to really work on hard because I know this thing, what we do, will suck everything from me and make me feel like I got to hide all the time.
And what you do, to be clear for anyone who hasn't watched, is pastoring.
Right. And, you know, and of course, you know, we pastor church and on TV and all that kind of stuff. So our lives are somewhat public. So there's times, you know, that in raising my children, you know, kids will be kids. And you know what I never understood is I allowed other people's kids to be kids, but nobody allowed my kids to be kids.
Right.
And I was like, that's kind of sucks.
Like, what, didn't you get a letter in the mail or email like, I saw Kindra out late at Sonic and she was with a guy and I wanted to email you and let you know because I think y'all knew where I was.
Yeah, we got all that kind of stuff. So it's like, so if you're not, even like you're not trying to have all this thoughts of being perfect, people will like constantly
People will put that on you.
Put that on you, and you have to reject that. You have to make sure you don't carry that and internalize that, you know, because you never reach it. You know, you always feel like you're missing the mark.
Or when you do miss the mark, you will feel like you let people down, and these are people who don't even care about you.
Right.
These are people who don't know anything about you.
Right.
But I mean, for me, there would be times where I really do feel like I really carried the weight of what I felt like Dad's expectations were for me. And, you know, your expectations too. But I think that you were a little bit more forgiving of my journey than Dad was. And so there were times where I felt like, okay, if Dad knew this, then it would just break his heart and it would just ruin him. So it's something I have to continue to hide. And when you live in shame, it keeps you there and it prevents you from growing past that place. When you can't fully recover and heal from whatever you've gone through when you're still carrying shame about it. You really have to be free from it.
Yeah, and shame is that perpetual thought or noise that something's wrong with you.
Right.
You know, something's not right with you.
Yeah.
You know, and guilt is like, look what something, you did that. Something's, you know, you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Shame is what's wrong with you.
Right.
You know, and so it could be really, you can never, ever truly be everything you were created to be carrying shame. Because if you feel like there's something wrong with you, you always, you deal with self-doubt.
Yeah.
You know, questioning, do you have the capacity or ability, or will you mess it up?
But you know what? That is why in the church, you have to take the mask off. Like, I joke around, like, y'all, you won't get this reference, but like, if you can't be yourself in church, where can you go? Like, if you can't put off your mask here, where can you do it? And so I think that because church people have culturally acted like this is where we come, it's the congregating of the perfects, and none of us are living our lives any kind of wrong way. So we come here to be perfect and put on face. And so when people are going through stuff, they go through it alone. When if people would be, if it was an atmosphere where people felt like they could be open, then you would find like, oh my God, me too. I'm going through this too. I did that too. I had to recover from that too. And then people could be in community together and actually heal from it. But there is no community. What is community? What is friendship based off of? Honesty.
Vulnerability.
Yeah. And so when you can't be vulnerable, then I think that's what leaves people there.
So how did you deal with the, you know, some things you had to get past?
And like, well, that's what initially brought that to mind, because like community, like my Pastor Taylor at Trinity Harlem, my church in New York, always says that if you are going through something and no one in your life knows, you're in a bad spot. You're in a bad place. Even if you're trying to get over something, even if it's something shameful, if it's an addiction or an unhealthy habit, and no one in your life knows, the thing that's keeping you from sharing clearly is shame. And that's what's holding you in the bondage to that very thing that you want to break free of. So for me, sharing was really helpful, you know, whether that was telling, you know, you that, okay, Mom, this happened this past week.
Yeah, she would share and I'd be like, I'm on the phone like, oh, did she just tell me this?
Or maybe not your mom. But, you know, a friend.
Let's talk about that. You could tell your mom, and I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know, what have you.
But some things may be for a friend.
Some things should be for a friend. You know, and some things can't be for your mom.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have a friend, tell your mom.
Tell someone. Have someone where you feel like you can go to, because that fear of shame also comes from the fear of rejection. Yeah. So when you can tell someone you love and they respond with, I still love you, it can kind of alleviate that shame or that regret that you feel.
I think we as people, you know, we are, when I say in families or in relationships, we got to do a better job in letting a person know, letting someone know, hey, I love you.
Right.
You know, I'm here for you. I'm not going to judge you.
Right.
You know, because when you're at a place and you're dealing with something and you sharing whatever, it's like that person's already feeling condemned and feeling bad, what have you, and they need someone to like just to love on them.
Yeah.
Let them know that they're not like their worst thought that they have in their own head about themselves. So
Right. And what we were saying earlier too, that the fact that God already knows that you've been low before.
Right.
That you were gonna get low before you got
He
low. And He loved you anyway, and He blessed you anyway. And if you had a blessing 5 years ago, you were blessed at that moment with the knowledge that one day you would inevitably screw up. Yeah. And He still loved you.
Oh my gosh, it takes me to something, because He, you know, which why I said that. I never forget, it was many years ago, and I think I was beating myself up on, you know, not being able to manage things and do things right as a mom and what have you, and not being conscious of all the other moving parts. I was just feeling like I'm just sucking today. Mom shame, and I was hard on myself. And y'all was small, and I was like, I can't believe I did that. I think something happened, or you know, it could have been even when Chandler broke his leg. I just felt like I should have been aware that
he broke his like femur, right?
Yeah, when he was young, and I thought maybe if I didn't mop the floor, if I didn't do this, and I was just feeling just horrible. And I was like, man, how could I have done this? I'm so sorry. And I'm like, man, God, I must be a bad mom. And he's like, Marcia, I love you. And I'm like, I'm just going on and on and on and on. Marcia, I love you. I'm like, I'm going on. And they's like, Marcia, I love you. I heard this shout. I'm like, man, why are you shouting at me? But I was like so loud. I was like, I'm trying to get your attention. I love you.
Period.
That's it. And
You're talking about what you did. You're talking about how sorry you are.
Right.
I'm just telling you I love you.
Right.
And that was so
the pronounced.
Love of God.
That was the love of God. That was so pronounced for me, and I never forgotten that. So it lets me know in my imperfections and my mess ups, God still loves me.
Yeah.
Even though other people don't love me or
right.
aren't acting loving towards me or loving me the way I need to be loved, because we all receive love in a particular way.
Right.
So God gets me. He loves me, and that's what I felt. He get me. That was the most wonderful thing to help me with all my stuff, my chatter, and then
God knows how you're wired.
Yes, He gets me. And I heard Him say, "I get you." I'm like, "Thank you, forgive me."
Yeah. You feel me? You understand?
Yeah, that felt so good, and I never forget was, of course, I grew up Catholic, and so we were taught to do our confessions, and when we sinned and to repent, what have you. And I remember, going before God, it's like, God, I did such and such and such, forgive me. And he's like, I forgive you. And I was like, God, I did such and such. He's like, he said, what did you do? I said, I did such and such and such and such. He said, I forgive you. And then I went back again. I was like, God, forgive me. He said, what did you do? I said, I did such and such. He said, I forgive you. And I remember came back again. I said, God, please forgive. He said, what did you do? I was like, God, how come you keep forgetting? I said, I don't believe
He keeps no records of wrongs.
That's what He's told me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't remember.
Wow.
Once you forget, that's it. Forgive. Once I repent, that's it. Once I forgive you, that's it. I don't remember it.
That's powerful.
Isn't that powerful? That thing, I was like, he said, I don't remember it. You keep bringing it up.
Right. That's so good.
Isn't that so good? And so I realized, man, what he was doing is peeling away these layers of religion. Mm-hmm. That I was raised in, that I was carrying in. I thought I had to be perfect and had to, and so I was like, all those T's, I would remember every T I did not cross. And I was like, oh my God. But he was helping me accept who I was and all my imperfections. And then the whole thing, what you said, and I share with other women all the time, is, when they like really feeling bad, because, I deal with women, they done some stuff that people wouldn't want to know. They don't want people to know about. None of us would want our stuff on a billboard.
Right.
Nobody's life is like, so perfect. It's like, we want everyone to read it. And so I would say, I said, didn't you tell God blessed you with something recently? They're like, yeah. Well, He knew you was going to do that.
When He blessed you.
Before you received this blessing. And if He was going to judge you, if He thought you were such a bad person, He would never blessed you with what you have received.
Right.
So you don't have to be this perfect person to receive that blessing, because God knows your end from your beginning, and He knew you was going to do that. And He still blessed you with that job, and He still blessed you with that increase, or He still blessed you with this opportunity. So He's not, He's not judging you. Mm-hmm. And so that we can get out of this mindset of thinking, now that I have this new job or this new opportunity, I'm going to mess it up. Because that's what shame does. That's what guilt does. It makes you feel like you're going to mess it up. It makes
you feel unworthy of new gifts in your life.
Exactly. And you will sabotage your purpose and sabotage your next, because you feel like you're disqualified.
Right.
And so, and I think that shame and guilt are weapons from the enemy to make us feel that we're not good enough.
Right. That's really good.
But we are good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think that once you can live that and walk that and own that, then it's like, what does the rejection of man mean when the God who created the heaven and the stars says that I am beautifully and wonderfully made still? Yeah. It takes a while to get to that point, but I think that once you can, it does. But I think that I know, like, when the love of God is so good that it's like, if this person rejects me for that, then that's okay, because there is more. There are people who won't. Mm-hmm. There are people who will see my scars and love me anyway and think my scars are kind of cute, Yeah. So I just feel like now anything that I've had in the past that might have been like shame or regret, I just like know that God has me through all of that and has my back and loves me so much that if there is someone who ain't feeling it, that there will be more that are.
That's
and I'm just good to move on with that.
Yes. And you sure are. And as a mom, you know, I'm hearing you and I'm feeling you and I'm listening to all that you're saying. And of course, mom wants to protect her child from everything. So some of the journey of me, the constantly being mom too much or mom the most.
Mom the most, that's a good one.
Mom the most is trying to block those experiences that you would have to wrestle yourself free from.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, as a woman, I understand there's things as women that we deal with that are just so intrinsic to being a woman.
Right.
So all those things that would try to shield you from, the broken hearts, the bozo.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Jesus, we had some bozos.
It's okay.
So that's a few. And so, and trying to steer you and all those things. And there's some things you just can't steer from. And some things you just, being an independent person, and they're on your own journey, and at an age to make your own decisions. Sometimes you have to stand, on the sidelines, like a marathon, people run a marathon, they run by stations that have water, and hopefully
that's you.
That's me. Take my water, please. I got some water for you. Don't run by me. But sometimes you just run right by me, I'm like, oh, you're thirsty. Aren't you thirsty?
But at the end of the day, another good thing to remember when it comes to shame and regret is that all of it, our lives are not our own. Mm-mm. And if you've been through something, it's to help another woman out. So anything I've been through,
I know,
it's part of my testimony, and it had to happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could have not happened, but God works it in.
And He works it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would. Of course, there's things we would to have do-overs and not go through. But I there's some things God allows. Like you said, He allows because, He's so concerned about His glory.
Right.
And so, and I know personally, these things I've gone through in life is for the good of someone else. And so, but of course, we wish I could have done some blocking for you.
Yeah. You did good, though.
Okay.
You did good.
Okay. So.
Well, that is how we have dealt with shame and regret. I hope that you guys can relate or took something from this. Don't forget to email us at askusonthecouch@gmail.com and comment, like, and subscribe and let us know if you related to any of this.
See you next time.
See ya.